Hello, my name's Robert Doble from Finning UK, the Caterpillar dealer for UK and Ireland. I'm product manager with Finning, and I'm here today to tell you about a great little excavator from Caterpillar. It's the 301.8 mini excavator. As it says on the tin, number on the side, 301.8 stands for 1.8 weight class mini excavator. Why do people use mini excavators? Mini excavators are used for perhaps utility work on the highway. They're used for construction work, for building work. They're used in demolition. They may be used in landscaping, things like that. A myriad of different applications. Cat mini excavators are tough digging machines. Like larger cat machines, what they're supposed to do, they do well. They dig hard, and once they've scooped out that material from the ground, they have a lot of bucket rotation through this linkage here, so the material's kept in the bucket until it's either tipped on the ground or perhaps into a dumper or something like that. I want to start here with the swing boom mounting here at the front of the machine. Here, where the main pivot of the boom mounting is, there's a stop here to stop the swing boom actually swinging right round. The reason it's there is to protect the cab from any larger attachments. If a customer did fit at a very large attachment, particularly if there was a less skilled operator and there was a risk perhaps impacting the cab with one of the work tools, then that lock protects it. But of course, if the customer did want to remove that because he needs to work around this side of the machine, it can be removed. As we move up the boom, what I want to show you here at the back is all of the main hoses are routed right up inside the back of the boom, so they're fully protected. They're not in the working area here, they're not vulnerable to damage. They're protected with extra sleeving to stop them catching on anything on the machine. And you also see that every single hose has its own little identification mark, aluminium tag here, so that tag gives you a unique reference number to reorder that hose if it was to get damaged. So really good, smart routing of the hoses right up the back of the boom. Next thing I want to talk about is the lift cylinder. This cylinder lifts the boom up and down when you're excavating and can be quite vulnerable to site damage. If you're loading into a skip or perhaps a site dumper, it is feasible to scrape that chrome against that and damage that component. But what the guys have done is a pretty good job of putting a pretty heavy plate there to protect that cylinder. So whether it's in its working environment or when it's being transported or moved from site to site, that cylinder is fully protected at all times. This small excavator also comes with a set of auxiliary hoses. So these hoses, unusual for mini excavators, are actually mounted all the way down onto the excavation stick. So that means that any cat work tool that you fit on a machine will have exactly the right hose length for working with this machine. Okay, when using the auxiliary hoses, depending on the type of work tool that's being used, you can set the function of the hoses in different modes. So in one-way operation, which is typically used with something like a Caterpillar hammer, you just leave the lever there. If you're working with a work tool that needed to be reversed, something like an auger that needs to be pushed in and then pulled out again, you very simply push the lever across and you've got the machine auxiliaries in two-way operation. Down at the business end of the machine, the 301.8 sold in the UK is all sold with the longer cat stick on it, which gives a digging depth of as much as 2.3 metres for this machine. Okay, I want to move on to the undercarriage on this machine. This is an undercarriage with a pair of rubber tracks, and this particular undercarriage is an extended undercarriage. So when you're transporting around site, you want the machine narrow to get through between obstacles and things. It goes down less than a metre's width. Once we get to our working position, we can extend the undercarriage out, improve the size of the platform, give it a bit more stability when it's actually in its working environment. And on the front here we have the dozer blade. So dozer blade has extension pieces, so for the extended undercarriage we can park them here for when the machine's travelling around site. When it's in its full width working, we can just pin them onto the outside of the blade. Useful function, the blade can be used for just levelling off, finishing off a job. Unique to the Caterpillar range is the float function. This particular blade has a float function. You set it in the float and it will naturally level off any materials you're finishing a job on. Right, machine servicing. Let's open up the engine cover and have a look. So, simple to open, big heavy door, locks open so it can't accidentally blow shut when someone's working on the machine. Good feature that. Everything's nice and easy to get at, simple, easy to see, and you can do everything you want to do on the machine nice and simple. Much better access than you perhaps would see on a lot of small excavators. So whether you want to get at the air filter, whether you want to change the oil filter, whether you just want to top up the washer bottle, nice, quick, simple and easy to get at. Everything's protected. Nice little feature I think on these mini excavators is the fuel sedimenter. You can quite easily put a bucket under that, so environmentally friendly cleansing if you've got to bleed any fuel. And one thing I think is very, very relevant on the Cat excavators, the guys go to a bit more trouble. They always put things like fan guards on there, so there's absolutely no chance of somebody trapping their fingers while they're working on the machine. Nice little unit this, recommended service interval of around about 500 hours. One great feature about the Cat range of mini excavators is the bodywork here. 6mm plate all the way around, extremely strong, durable, doesn't show the dents, quite easy to patch up again if it does get a scratch on it. But probably one of the significant reasons that people go for the Cat mini excavator is they start looking good and they stay looking good. Okay, operator environment. First of all, first thing you have to do when you get into the machine is remove the swing lock. This stops the machine swinging when it's in its transport mode. So if you're transporting it, the swing frame is locked all the time. Release that lock by putting the armrest down, and on each armrest you've got a wrist support here, so you can adjust those wrist supports to get in a good environment for operating the joysticks. All of controls, easy reach to the operator, including the T-speed tracking, which is just on this lever on the right hand side. Quickly switch between your fast and your slow speed. Okay, on this fully glazed version of the 301.8, we're fully opening front window. So very simply, just pull the lever up and the window goes right up out of the way. Even with the hard hat on, it doesn't even touch my hat, and opens up the whole front of the machine so I can see right out into the full digging envelope of the machine. Once I've finished work or want to close it up again, very simply, just release the levers, lower it, right down, close it up again. Very, very easy. Of course, the first thing you need to do before you start work is put your seatbelt on. Make sure you've got the seats in exactly the right position for working, and away you go.